Welcome back to MrStream, where today's charity smells more like a cash grab. Let's dive into the firestorm. So, Idubbbz, a name once associated with edgy commentary and actual spine, is now in serious trouble. We're because receipts just dropped that he and his wife Anissa were allegedly pocketing 34% of the profits from Creator Clash, the boxing event everyone thought was for charity. Yep, 34%. Now, you don't have to be an accountant to realize that if over a third of your charity event is going into your personal pockets, something's up. The public was sold the image that ticket sales went to a good cause, specifically children's cancer charities. Turns out, a big chunk of it was going toward buying Ian a fresh pair of ethics. People are mad, understandably. This wasn't some niche side project. Creator Clash was marketed as a massive feel-good community event where fans support their favorite creators throwing punches for a good cause. But in reality, it turns out the audience was just punching up the revenue for Idubbbz and Anna. And yeah, maybe that info was buried deep in the terms and conditions. But no one reads that. That's intentional. You bury the details so you can legally protect yourself, but ethically, you're still a snake. Now enter Ludwig, or as the internet now lovingly calls him, Ludwig, the man who left his commentary channel so he wouldn't have to criticize his own besties. In a response video, Ludwig actually defends Idubbbz. He argues that calling it a scam is the worst faith interpretation, that since the first Creator Clash raised $1.3 million for charity, it proves good intentions. Lud's logic, you raised money once, so you're incapable of scamming ever again, which is hilarious. That's like robbing a bank and saying, but officer, I donated to a food bank once. And let's not forget, the second Creator Clash lost $250,000. Not great, but instead of taking the L, it looks like they preemptively shielded themselves from future risk by ensuring the charity takes the hit and they walk away with guaranteed cash. Transparency? Nah. Honesty? Forget it. What we're seeing is the influencer version of Wall Street. High-risk ventures protected by legalese and PR spin. But remember, you paid for the tickets. You thought it was for the kids, and instead you helped fund Creator Clash 3, the greedy sequel. So let's recap real quick. The creators frame it as charity. The audience buys in. The event makes money. And then, boom, the fine print reveals a third of the money is going to the organizers themselves. Ludwig keeps defending the model, calling charity a business, saying it needs to be sustainable. But if you need to pocket tens of thousands from a charity event to break even, maybe your business model sucks. And what's worse is the hypocrisy. Just last year, Anissa tweeted, "We didn't take a salary. We have enough. No one needs more than we have. The excess should go to others." Cute sentiment. Now, fast forward, 34% pocketed quietly. Also, Ludwig's defense completely ignores that people thought their money was going straight to charity, not to cover parties, overpriced event expenses, or personal guarantees. If you asked fans to buy a ticket and said, hey, by the way, a big chunk goes to the creators, many wouldn't have bought it. So let's stop pretending this is about sustainability. It's about control. It's about hiding the ball. And it's about building a brand on the backs of good intentions, then cashing out when no one's looking. So let's talk about how Ludwig became the human equivalent of a boneless chicken wing. Remember his old channel, Mogul Mail? Back in the day, Ludwig actually posted a video criticizing Hasan Piker. Mild take, nothing brutal. He basically said that streaming isn't more mentally draining than a regular 9-to-5 job. Common sense stuff. But Hasan didn't like that. And instead of standing his ground, Ludwig deleted the video. Then he re-recorded it. Then he re-uploaded it, pretending nothing had changed. But everyone in the comments noticed the message was completely different. Suddenly, the take was soft, apologetic, and super Hasan-friendly. Fast forward to now, and we get it. Ludwig doesn't do commentary anymore because it risks him having to criticize his millionaire friends. That's not business-friendly. You don't want to say the wrong thing when you're invited to Creator Clash or streaming at Hasan's compound. And now, in this Idubbbz scandal, Ludwig is defending the 34% cut, calling the backlash virtue signaling. Bro, you're the one rewriting entire videos to avoid hurting feelings. You're a walking example of virtue signaling. Now let's dive deeper into the real scam here, the lack of transparency. People didn't know where their money was going. The whole thing was marketed as a charity event. But unless you dug through legalese buried 15 pages deep, you wouldn't know that only the leftovers after expenses went to charity. That's not a charity event. That's a business that donates scraps. And here's the wild part. Most fans probably wouldn't care if Idubbbz took a reasonable cut. If he had just told them, if the event raised $50 million and Ian pocketed $100K, nobody would blink. But 34% without disclosure? That's manipulation. This isn't about legality. It's about trust. When the branding screams charity and the reality is for profit, that's false advertising. They could have just said, hey, this is a community boxing event that supports some charities. But they didn't. They hid it and then played victim when called out. And it's not even effective. Creator Clash 2 already lost money. So their solution for number 3 was lock in our own payday. And if anything goes wrong, charity takes the L. That's not sustainable. That's just selfish. Now, switching gears, let's talk about BBNo, the artist who decided to censor Asmongold out of a music video. Why? According to a public statement. At the time of recording, I was unaware of a certain individual's ethical beliefs. As a result, I've chosen to censor whose values I do not support. Translation. I panicked and cut out Asmon because Twitter might cancel me. In the final video, Asmongold is literally covered up by some weird CGI lizard. That's right. Dude got digitally replaced by a reptile. And all this comes after BBNo publicly called Asmon his favorite streamer and even had his face tattooed on his chest for a bit. What changed? Apparently nothing, except clout pressure. And here's the real kicker. BBNo has been seen hanging out with Hasan Piker, the same guy who's been repeatedly called out for endorsing political violence, insulting creators, and spewing actual unhinged takes. But Asmongold gets canceled? Yeah, that's called hypocrisy. So let's zoom in on the double standard. Asmongold gets censored because of his ethics? Really? This is the same guy who reacted with grace, literally saying, I don't hold any ill will. I understand BBNo doesn't want to be involved with my politics. That's his choice. Respectful, measured, civil. But somehow he's the problem? Meanwhile, Hasan Piker, a man who once said a sitting U.S. senator should be executed, called multiple creators pedophiles with zero proof, and spouted endless trash, is still the golden boy. It's absolutely wild. BBNo claims he's about love and positivity, yet he's out here ghosting Asmon, a longtime friend, while chilling on stream with Hasan, the guy who literally makes controversy his full-time job. There's no moral consistency here, just clout chasing and fake progressivism. Everyone's terrified of the outrage mob, so they cancel people who are easy targets, while kissing the ring of the loudest voices in the room. You know what's crazy? This whole video censorship thing backfired. BBNo's music video is now getting ratioed to the moon, more dislikes than likes. And the worst part? No one would have noticed Asmon in the video if he hadn't censored him. The censorship created the drama. And now the internet sees BBNo for what he is, a dude who ditched a friend to play nice with a crowd that will eventually eat him alive. This is the Strassen effect. When you try to hide something controversial, you accidentally make it 10 times more viral. Even streamers like Tectone chimed in, calling BBNo a spineless sellout who pandered to woke Twitter and still ended up getting torched. It's like clockwork. You pander, you moral grandstand, and the second you misstep, that same mob you tried to please devours you. There's no loyalty in cancel culture, only fear. Let's get real for a second. Why is Hasan Piker still platformed by all these people who claim to care about ethics and kindness? This is a guy who has never apologized for saying insane stuff. He's called for violence. He's publicly insulted creators, accused people of crimes, and never walked any of it back. But because he's aligned with the right ideology, or at least pretends to be, everyone gives him a free pass. And if you so much as criticize him, People like Ludwig delete their videos. BBNo censors anyone even slightly associated with someone like Asmon, while still smiling next to Hasan on Twitch streams. It's fake, it's performative, and it's everything wrong with the current culture online. You're not allowed to speak honestly anymore unless you're willing to risk being completely blacklisted. So instead, creators hide behind PR, scrub their content, and do apology tours every time Twitter sneezes. Let's talk about one of the dumbest talking points in this whole mess. The idea that charity needs to be sustainable. That was Ludwig's excuse. He argued that charity events have to make a profit so they can keep happening. You know, like a business. But here's the thing. Charity is not supposed to be a business. You don't raise 1.3 million once and say, well, next time we need to make money for ourselves too. That's not how charity works. That's how scams work. And if you lose money one year, that doesn't mean the next event should guarantee profits for the organizers while putting the charity at financial risk. If it's that risky, don't call it a charity event. Call it a community event with some charitable donations. People gave their time and money because they thought it was for a cause, not for Anna and Idubbbz's next home renovation. Let's get into the fine print defense, the classic, we wrote it down somewhere, so it's not illegal move. You ever notice how the only people defending this event say, well, actually, if you looked at the 15th page of the FAQ? Yeah, that's the point. Most fans didn't read the fine print. They read the marketing, the tweets, the trailers, the creator posts, all of which called it a charity event. That's where the deception lies. If your public message screams, helping kids with cancer, and your back end is quietly siphoning off 34% to line your own pockets, that's intentional misdirection. It's not about what's legal, it's about what's honest, and nothing about this was honest. Let's circle back to the big question. Why is Creator Clash even happening again? The second event was a financial failure. It lost $250,000. So what did they do? Instead of fixing the model, they doubled down, guaranteed a cut for themselves, and made sure that if it flopped again, the charity took the hit. That's insane. They knew the event might fail, and they made sure they'd still get paid. It's like throwing a dinner party, charging guests $100 for cancer research, and then using the money to pay for the steak, the wine, the waiters, and then tossing the leftover crumbs to the actual charity. And when people complain, you say, hey, it was in the fine print. Bro, that's not a mistake. That's a business model. And the worst part, every future charity event is now tainted. People are going to be way more skeptical, way more cautious, and way more hesitant to donate, even when it's for a legit cause, because Idubbbz and Anna couldn't be honest about what they were doing. Now let's bring in Ethan Klein, never one to stay quiet when internet drama gets spicy. Ethan chimed in on Instagram, taking a jab at influencer boxing events in general. His take? It really made me mad about boxing events in the past. It's rich people betting their money to make more money, while the people watching them are struggling to pay rent. Honestly, not wrong. These events aren't grassroots anymore. They're not community building. They're a spectacle for millionaires, sold to middle-class fans under the guise of charity. And the fighters, most of them are exploited, underpaid, and used for PR. And the worst offenders, not the corporations, not the platforms. It's the creators themselves. People who used to pretend they were different from the mainstream. People like Idubbbz and Anna who marketed themselves as authentic, now running shady pay-to-play operations with hidden agendas. Now here comes Harley, one of the OG fighters from Creator Clash, who pulled out of the event and decided to speak up. Harley basically hinted that the new organizers of Creator Clash, not Idubbbz or Anna, were the ones who leaked the 34% scandal. Yeah, the new owners themselves decided to go public with the shady profit-sharing numbers. You know what that tells us? There's bad blood. Maybe they were tired of carrying water for Anna and Ian. Maybe they wanted to clear their own names. Either way, Harley said it felt like a sneak diss, and he's not wrong. The exposure was intentional. The announcement wasn't necessary, but it was deliberate. The new team wanted to distance themselves from the past mismanagement, and in doing so, they confirmed what fans had only suspected before. Creator Clash was never fully about charity. It was about image, and when that image cracked, so did the loyalty. So where does that leave us? We've got a charity event that secretly reserved a massive cut for the hosts, a PR team that buried that detail in legal fine print, a commentary YouTuber turned corporate shill defending it while dodging real accountability, and an artist who ditched his supposed favorite streamer to stay cool with a guy who literally supports political violence. That's the state of creator culture in 2025. It's no longer about authenticity. It's about optics. It's about controlling the narrative, gaslighting the audience, and punishing anyone who points out the obvious. You get ratioed for telling the truth and praised for keeping quiet. You get canceled for associating with someone mildly controversial, but applauded for taking selfies with people who say actual unhinged garbage every week. And guess what? The fans are noticing. The mask is off. Nobody's buying the "we care about charity" act when the same people are locking in profit margins and ghosting anyone who disagrees. Let's circle back to BBNo because the situation with him just gets messier the more you look at it. Remember, this is a guy who once said Asmongold was his favorite streamer, literally got Asmon's face printed on his chest. Bro was that much of a fan, and now he censors him from a music video like he's radioactive.
Why?
Because he found out Asmon has political beliefs that he doesn't support. And instead of just disagreeing like a normal person, he tries to pretend Asmon was never in the video, uses lizard overlays, makes vague tweets about ethical values. Meanwhile, he's chilling on stream with Hasan, who has arguably the most toxic political record in the entire Twitch ecosystem. The guy who calls people pedophiles without evidence, who joked about 9/11, who has never apologized for anything. If BBNo really cared about ethics, he wouldn't be in that friend group. But he knows where the power is, and he's clout chasing like everyone else. Now let's contrast that with Asmongold's Response, which was basically a masterclass in humility. He didn't rage, he didn't insult, he just said, "No ill will. If BBNo doesn't want it to associate with my politics, that's his choice. I still think he's a good dude." Imagine being backstabbed publicly by someone who used to idolize you and still showing grace. That's a level of maturity most creators couldn't dream of. And the irony? If BBNo had just left Asmon in the video, no one would have cared. But by censoring him, he made it a political statement and brought attention to something that didn't need it. Now his video is getting destroyed by dislikes, and people see him as a spineless flip-flopper. It's the Streisand effect in real time. Let's not forget what Tectone said, because he nailed it. This baby no backbone is insane. He did this to avoid heat from the woke mob. Facts. This is what happens when creators bend over backward to please every online mob. You're never safe enough. You're never progressive enough. The second you mess up, they turn on you. It's like BBNo tried to buy protection by sacrificing Asmon and still got cooked. Now the same people he tried to impress are turning on him for being inconsistent, for being fake, for being performative. And that's the core issue with this generation of creators. They're more scared of Reddit comments than they are of lying to their fans. They'll sell out a friend, re-edit a video, rewrite history, all to avoid getting flamed for 48 hours on Twitter. It's not bravery, it's not ethics, it's cowardice. Let's talk about the real elephant in the room. Hasan Piker. You've got creators cutting ties with people like Asmongold over mild political differences, but then turning around and cozying up to Hasan, who's got a resume full of red flags. This is the same guy who mocked 9/11 victims, joked about political violence, called U.S. senators terrorists, threw around accusations of pedophilia like it's a punchline, and yet, no consequences.
Why?
Because he's popular. He's a brand. He's protected. And if you're in his circle, you don't criticize, you don't question, you submit. Even Ludwig, who used to run a commentary channel, won't say a word about Hasan. He deleted videos, backtracked on takes, and essentially admitted, "I don't want beef with the dude who prints me clout." And that's what this all comes down to, clout loyalty over honesty. Ludwig's cowardice is especially tragic because he used to be a voice of reason. Remember Mogul Mail? He built that channel to give objective commentary. He even once called out Hasan mildly for saying streaming was harder than a 9 to 5. And what did Hasan do? He got mad publicly. So Ludwig deleted the video, re-recorded it, and uploaded a neutered version. He pretended nothing changed. But viewers weren't fooled. The comments called him out instantly. That's when the old Ludwig died, the one with a spine, the one who could at least pretend to be fair. Now he's doing backflips to protect his influencer friends. He's repeating PR buzzwords, saying things like charity is a business, and we have to be realistic. Bro, just say you're scared of losing access. Don't hide behind business talk. You can find more backbone at a jellyfish convention. The saddest part of all this? Charity itself has become a brand. Not a cause, not a mission, a brand, a marketing tool. Creators slap it on their events like it's a bumper sticker. Buy this shirt, proceeds go to charity. Join this event, it's for a cause. But behind the scenes, they're running the numbers, securing the payout, and controlling the narrative. And the fans, the ones working 2 jobs to buy those tickets, donate to those streams, or support their favorite creators, they get used. It's not enough that they fund these events. They also have to shut up, smile, and not ask where the money went. Because if they do, if they ask too many questions, they get told, it's in the fine print, you just didn't read it. Let's talk about the fine print defense, the favorite shield of shady creators everywhere. Every time someone gets exposed for misleading fans, the excuse is always, well, technically it was in the terms and conditions. Bro, nobody reads the 15th page of legalese, and you know that. If your plan to stay honest relies on your audience being lawyers, you're not being honest. You're just being a coward who hides behind paperwork. And that's exactly what happened with Creator Clash. The 34% profit cut, buried in obscure documentation. No front-facing announcement. No open conversation. Just a quiet carve-out for Anna and Ian, hoping no one would notice. It's not illegal, but it's shady, and it's anti-charity. You can't say we're all about the kids while quietly pocketing a third of the funds raised in their name. That's not charity. That's a marketing strategy with a halo filter. Ludwig and others keep bringing up this word, sustainability. We need to make money so we can keep doing these charity events year after year. Sounds noble, right? Except for one thing. These people are already millionaires. They don't need to skim off charity funds to keep going. They're doing it because they want every event to be profitable, even if that means the charity gets less. They could have made $0 and still had money left over for another Creator Clash. But they didn't want that. They wanted guaranteed money, low risk, high PR, and no criticism. That's not sustainability. That's just greed with a moral disguise. If you're putting on a charity event, but locking in a paycheck no matter what, you are the charity. Let's rewind to Asmongold for a moment, because his response deserves more credit. He had every right to be bitter. He got cut from a music video he helped shoot. He was humiliated. And yet, he didn't lash out. He said, man, I still like BBNo dollars. It's his decision. That's real maturity. That's someone who's confident enough in his values to not seek validation from fake virtue mobs. Compare that to BBNo, Ludwig, or Hasan, who all bend, twist, and squirm depending on who's watching. Their opinions shift like sand. Their morals are a performance. Asmon didn't play the game, and ironically, that made him the most trustworthy person in the entire story. So let's bring it back to Anna, shall we? She tweeted, unironically, that she and Ian didn't take a salary from Creator Clash, that they have enough and don't need excess, that they want others to enjoy safety and comfort. Wow, that sounds noble, almost saintly, except they took 34% of the profits. Anna, if you and Ian are so content, why did you claim a third of a charity event's funds while your fighters were pulling out and the fans were left in the dark? You can't say we're not rolling in money in one breath and then grab more than the charity got in the next. These tweets aged like milk. And now that the receipts are public, your whole image of humble benevolence, it's just another influencer illusion. Even Harley, one of the event's main fighters, had to speak up. When Creator Clash's new owners dropped subtle shade at Ian and Anna in their public posts, Harley immediately recognized the play. There's bad blood. That was 1,000% a sneak diss. And he's right. The current organizers wanted to distance themselves from the mess while still using the drama to boost visibility. And Harley, who once fully believed in this event, now sees it as tainted. This whole situation isn't just about one failed event. It's about the death of trust. If fans don't know where their money's going, if fighters feel like they're being used, if even the creators involved are unsure who's making what, that's not a community event anymore. It's a corporate cash funnel. Let's finish with this. The biggest loser in this story isn't Idubbbz, Anna, Ludwig, or BBNo dollars. It's the audience. The average viewers who wanted to believe this was about something more than just money, who thought charity meant sacrifice, not a secret payout, who believed creators when they said, this is for a good cause. And instead, they got manipulated. Meanwhile, creators who stood by their values, like Asmongold, got silenced, censored, and cut out. This is why people are losing faith in influencers, because every day it feels like everyone's for sale. And the ones who aren't, they get blacklisted. So what did we learn today? Idubbbz is not the humble reformer he wants to be. He's just another guy using charity for clout. Anna talks about selflessness while cashing in more than anyone. Ludwig quit commentary the moment it meant confronting his friends. BBNo dolls sold out a friend for ethics while chilling with one of the most radical creators on Twitch. And Asmongold, the only one who showed actual integrity, got cut and stayed silent. This is why people are jaded. This is why the commentary scene exists, because someone's got to say it. Thanks for watching, MrStream, your daily dose of honesty no matter how ugly the truth is. Subscribe for more. And remember, the only thing faker than an influencer apology is a charity event with a hidden profit margin. Catch you next time.